Over 90% of homebuyers and property investors overpay for real estate, not because they are careless, not because the market is rigged against them, but simply because they had no idea how to determine what a property is actually worth before signing the paperwork. That single mistake, replicated millions of times every year, costs ordinary people tens of thousands of dollars they never get back. In the next 10 minutes, you are going to learn exactly how real estate professionals value a property from the ground up. We will walk through the core methods appraisers use, the data points that matter most, and the one factor that most buyers completely ignore, a factor so important that seasoned investors say it alone can swing a property's value by 20% in either direction. By the end of this video, you will think about real estate pricing the way the professionals do. Property valuation is one of the oldest and most critical disciplines in real estate. For most of human history, land was valued based on agricultural yield, proximity to water, and defensibility. The concept of comparable sales analysis did not really formalize until the 20th century, when the rapid expansion of mortgage lending in the United States created a desperate need for standardized valuation methods. Lenders needed to know exactly what a property was worth before agreeing to finance it. That pressure gave birth to the modern appraisal industry. In 1989, the Financial Institutions Reform, Recovery, and Enforcement Act created licensing requirements for appraisers, making valuation a regulated profession. Today, the Appraisal Institute trains and certifies thousands of professionals worldwide, and their methodologies form the backbone of every serious property valuation you will ever encounter. There are three primary methods professionals use to value any property. Each one serves a different purpose, and understanding all three gives you an enormous advantage over the average buyer or seller who relies on nothing more than his estimate. The first method is the sales comparison approach, and it is the most widely used method for residential real estate. The concept is straightforward. You find recently sold properties that are as similar as possible to the property you are evaluating, then you make adjustments for differences. These comparable properties are called comps. Professionals typically look for comps within a half-mile radius in urban areas, a 1-mile radius in suburban areas, and sometimes wider in rural settings. They want sales that occurred within the last 3 to 6 months, and they prefer properties with similar square footage, bedroom and bathroom count, lot size, age, and condition. Here is where it gets precise. If your subject property has a garage and a comparable does not, the appraiser adds a dollar value for that garage. If the comparable has a pool and the subject does not, the appraiser subtracts an adjustment. These adjustments are not arbitrary. They are based on paired sales analysis, where appraisers study hundreds of transactions to determine exactly what the market pays for each feature in that specific neighborhood. A finished basement in one zip code might add $15,000 in value. In another zip code, it might add $40,000. The market determines the number, not a national average. But here is what nobody talks about when it comes to comps. The quality of the data matters enormously. Public records and online platforms often contain errors, incorrect square footage, missing renovations, wrong bedroom counts. Professional appraisers verify their data by pulling from the multiple listing service, county tax records, and sometimes physical inspections of the comparable properties themselves. If you are doing your own valuation, always cross-reference at least 2 data sources before trusting any number. The second method is the income approach, and this one is essential for anyone evaluating investment properties. The income approach asks a simple but powerful question: how much money does this property generate, and what is that income stream worth to a buyer? The core formula is net operating income divided by the capitalization rate, which gives you the property's value. Net operating income, or NOI, is your annual rental income minus all operating expenses, excluding mortgage payments. The capitalization rate, or cap rate, reflects the risk and return expectation of the local market. If similar apartment buildings in a city are selling at a 5% cap rate, and your building generates $100,000 in NOI, the property is worth $2 million. Shift that cap rate to 6% and the same building is worth about $1.67 million. That gap, $330,000, comes purely from how investors in that market perceive risk. Understanding cap rates in your target market is not optional. It is the language that serious investors speak. The third method is the cost approach, and it answers a fundamentally different question. What would it cost to rebuild this property from scratch today, minus the depreciation that has accumulated over time, plus the land value? This method is most useful for unique properties with few comparable sales, new construction, and insurance valuations. Appraisers calculate the replacement cost using cost per square foot data from construction cost manuals like Marshall and Swift. They then subtract depreciation, which accounts for physical wear and tear, functional obsolescence like outdated floor plans, and external obsolescence caused by neighborhood decline. The cost approach rarely tells the whole story on its own, but it acts as a powerful sanity check. If the sales comparison approach values a property at $800,000 and the cost approach says it would cost $1,200,000 to reproduce, that is important information. It tells you the market is applying a significant discount relative to replacement cost, and you need to understand why. Now, here is the advanced layer that separates truly skilled valuators from everyone else: location analysis. You have heard the phrase location, location, location 1,000 times. But professionals break location down into specific, measurable components. School district ratings directly affect residential values. A 2021 study by the National Bureau of Economic Research found that homes in top-rated school districts sell for an average premium of 22% compared to homes in average districts with similar physical characteristics. Proximity to employment hubs, walkability scores, flood zone designation, and even street-level noise data all factor into precise valuations. Sophisticated investors now use geographic information system mapping to overlay demographic trends, income growth projections, and infrastructure investment pipelines onto property valuations. A neighborhood with a planned transit expansion, for example, often sees price appreciation begin 2 to 3 years before the project is completed, as informed buyers price in future access. Here is a rhetorical question worth sitting with. Two houses, identical in every physical way, sit 1 mile apart. One is half a mile from a new Amazon distribution center. The other is half a mile from a well-rated elementary school. Which one is worth more? The answer depends entirely on who is buying in that market and what that buyer segment values most. Understanding buyer motivation in a specific submarket is a form of qualitative analysis that no algorithm has perfectly solved, which is exactly why experienced local agents and appraisers still outperform automated valuation models in complex markets. The real-world implications of mastering property valuation are significant. Buyers who understand valuation avoid overpaying in heated markets by anchoring offers to data rather than emotion. Sellers who understand valuation price their listings competitively from day one, which research consistently shows results in higher final sale prices than listings that start too high and require price reductions. Investors who use the income approach rigorously avoid acquiring properties that look attractive on the surface but deliver poor actual returns once expenses are accounted for. And anyone negotiating a refinance or a property tax appeal benefits enormously from understanding how their home was valued in the first place. In 2022, an estimated 40% of American properties were assessed above their fair market value for tax purposes, meaning millions of homeowners were overpaying property taxes simply because they lacked the knowledge to challenge the assessment. To bring it all together, professional property valuation relies on 3 core methods: the sales comparison approach for residential properties, the income approach for investment properties, and the cost approach as a verification tool. Each method requires clean, verified data. Each requires an understanding of local market conditions, not national averages. Before you go, if you learned something valuable today, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to Realty Pulse for a brand new video every single day. We will see you in the next one.